Morning, folks. Bay State Yankee here. It's the second week of September. Temps are starting to drop. It's been in the high 40s in the morning. The plants outside are starting to die off. We have a whole bunch of beds out there. A lot of them are filled with perennials. And in the fall, I like to cut those back as they die. It saves me a lot of time in the springtime cleaning up. It gets the stuff out of there, and then I don't get the blowing leaves collecting in there. It gets messy. So I like to clean it out if I can in the fall. I get most of it. Some of the stuff I hold off till spring. But so I got that going on this week. One or two rainy days coming. Looking at the almanac, and it's telling me Wednesday, Thursday probably won't be good days. And then maybe Saturday. I also have to clean out my wood stove. We did the chimney earlier, and if you look back on the videos, you can see that. But I have to clean out the wood stove, get that cleaned up straight. There's a big pile of ash in there. I want to bring in my wood basket, set that up, so if we need a quick fire in the morning, we can have it. Check out my wood bin in the garage, get the snowblower out of there. I have an ash bucket that I put out in the garden. When I take out hot ashes, I have to put that in the ground so it's grounded and doesn't blow around. There's a lot of little things, so I thought I'd combine some of this stuff and put together a few videos. I also have to clean out the garden beds. I have a big section of dill that needs to be cut down, but the roots pulled out, and then I saved the dill heads in bags. After they're dried, I break them all up and I save the seeds for next year. A lot of times the dill will self-sow, so I don't really have to plant anything, but just in case, once in a while you get a year where you get skunked and you're left with no dill, and we use a lot of dill. So I always save the seeds if I can. And if I don't use them, I can hand them off to neighbors or friends. So that seems to work well. So grab a cup of coffee and sit back and let's get busy. Thanks. Okay, today we're here to clean out this wood stove. I have just finished doing the chimney, and it's left a pile of soot inside, and I know that the two tiles that are just up out of sight overhead here, they're holding a lot more, so I'm going to have to pull that out. That's going to be nasty. So let me get some tarps down and get a bucket and a shovel, and we'll get this going. The quicker I get this cleaned up, the quicker we can get this thing burning. We'll need it shortly. All right. Okay, here we go. Got an ash bucket here, got a shovel. I'm going to start by taking out this pile. That's not going to work, that's too big. I use this. This stuff is very light and it blows around. I'll probably have to clean the whole room when I'm done. But so be it. This stuff can ignite in your chimney and cause chimney fires. Very dangerous. Kind of like when a grain silo goes up in flames. It's all from the dust. Now up above, which you can't see, there are two tiles that interlock. And they have to be emptied. This is not the easiest thing to do. But it needs to be done. It's not as bad as I thought. Nope. All right. Okay. Take out the rest of this. It doesn't have to be perfect in there. We're certainly just going to make more ash. I want to get this off. Just to brush it away from the window. You can see it gets dirty in there. Alright. That aside. Now I just have window cleaner. And I'm going to spray this down just to get the extra soot off the outside. Okay. The one downfall of heating with wood is it's a dirty, like a dirty process. The upside is the heat you get is absolutely perfect. It just, once you get that fire going, it just the heat soaks into your bones. And if you happen to have arthritis like I do, it's perfect. You can't, there's just no other match. So I continue to burn wood for that reason. A lot of work, but well worth it. Ask anybody that burns. They'll tell you the same thing. Clean off the top here. And this cleaning of the outside, we usually have to do this maybe once a week, every other week, depending how often we burn. If you open the door correctly, you don't get a lot of blowout. So that certainly helps you in the long run in the cleaning area. But so now I've got a little ash in there, but that's okay. That's not a big deal. We'll just add to it. So I think inside that's done. Get the outside. It's a simple process. when the stove is cold. When the stove is hot, you have to carefully shovel the ash. I usually do it first thing in the morning because I don't run it at night. So it's died down. I shovel the ash out, put it in this bucket, and I take it outside, and I have a can with a cover buried in the ground. I put all the hot ash in there, put the lid on and secure it. Particularly in the fall before you get snow cover, you don't want hot ashes blowing around in the fall winds. They're just going to take those ashes and they're going to blow them somewhere where there's leaves. You're going to start a fire and burn your house down, maybe your neighbor's house. Nobody's going to be happy in the long run. The insurance company doesn't want to hear about it. So it's better off to secure your ashes somewhere outside safely, then you never have an issue. Here in New England, every year somebody loses a house because the hot ash is blowing around. It's crazy. And I'm surprised they don't learn. But after all these decades of people burning wood, hundreds of years actually, you just have to be safe. You know, be smart, be safe, and you're okay. So that's it. Now I got to clean up this mess. Okay, we're all set. We got the chimney cleaned the other day. Now we got the wood stove cleaned out. That's all set to go. I've got my humidifier on the top. It's a cast iron unit. We fill it with water, and when the stove is running, this unit here that hangs off the back is actually a blower, and we plug this into the wall. You don't have to run it, but it really helps a lot. So it sucks in cool air at the bottom and then blows it up over coils that are heated by the back of the stove, and then it flows across the surface here, and it pulls out moisture out of this container and puts moisture back into the air in the room, because when you're burning wood it gets very dry. That helps a lot. It also pushes the air to the far end of the room, which is about 25 feet. The sides, you see these, it looks like a bubble on the sides. The way the stove is designed, it's designed to fit into either mobile homes or a small alcove, and by having this panel on the side, the heat dissipates rather than reflects out to the walls. So you can put it up closer to items. We still adhere to the code, the building code, as far as how far away from the wall you need. And we've gone and built this brick hearth. As you can see, this contains the heat, pushes it out, but actually even after running the stove all day long, the bricks are still cool. So the stove is really doing what it's designed to do. This is a Regency airtight stove. It's small. It's made for heating up to 1,100 square feet. So it works pretty well for us. So that's the brick pad. And then over here, that's our wood basket. I threw a little bit of wood in there just to do like one fire in the morning or something. And then until it gets really cold, I won't start bringing in lots of wood. And then that's our kindling wood. And I think I showed you that in an earlier video, the wood sheds. You can see how we store the kindling out there. Most of that is generated from the act of splitting wood, small pieces that fall off, pieces of bark and stuff. And we save all that and make sure it's dry, and we can use that for starting. The egg crates you see there, we use those when we start a fire. We put one of those cartons in there and touch a match to it, get it going, throw some kindling on it, and then build your fire from there. And it seems to work really well. So every morning when we start a fire, we go through one egg carton. that's about it for that. Oh, you will notice there's no damper on this. Um, the damper on usually the old time stoves had a damper built right into the pipe, and we don't have that. We have a small damper down here that opens and closes a piece in here. This is your air intake. Goes right in there. There's also tubes, hollow tubes up underneath that you can't see that have holes in it, so the air circulates around really well. This thing really cranks out the heat. I'm really surprised. We got it. We were kind of skeptical, but I like it. I like it a lot. So I have a screen that goes over it, you know, for the ambiance and everything, but actually it runs better if you have the glass doors shut tight like this. You don't get the outside doesn't warm up as much, and this way, the cast iron here will hold up hold the heat quite a long time. After the fire goes out, sometimes it's like 2-3 hours before even the fan shuts off. Because the fan runs on a thermostat, so it takes quite a while. Yeah, I'm really happy with this. Okay, now that we got that done, now we go outside, start cutting down some stuff. So here's the rest of today's project. I have to cut down these daisies here. These are gone past. And then these are daylilies here. And I've got some funky weed growing that I got to get in there and find out what that is and pull it out. All of this will be cut right to the ground. From the deck here all the way around, we'll get this. More daylilies here, more daisies. This little thing here we're going to leave. It's supposedly a perennial and the boss wants it left. Then over here we've got another one of those. We'll leave. More daisies and this mess. And this is invasive. I'm not sure what it is. I'm gonna chop it down. So we'll see. I got hostas around here. We're gonna let those ride for a little bit. When the frost hits them, they become real easy to rake right out. But this stuff here all has to be cut down with a hedge trimmer. Like I said, I could wait until spring, but then it's just more of a mess. So it's easier to do it now when everything is standing erect. So let me get my my trimmer and my cord and we'll get started. So my plan of attack is to use my Homelight electric hedge trimmer, and it comes with this this is a removable piece here, and it's designed to make, when you cut the item, it falls over the edge, so it picks the end up and lifts it out of the way. I read it up on in the owner's manual, and it sounded kind of corny, but in practice it works really well. So this is what I use for trimming out my beds. It's not really what I thought I would ever use it for, but it works great. Okay, off to the compost pile. And there it lies till it rots. By spring you won't even recognize it. It'll be all down in the compost. Okay, there you go. I cut all this back. There's still some stragglers in there, and yeah, it doesn't look that great, but frost is coming. It'll kill them off easy, and then we can rake it out good in the spring. This thing will fill up anyway with leaves in the fall, so we may even be raking it before spring, but I'm not really worried about that. And then over here we left these two bushes. I got to do something about that grass growing in there. And this stuff here, it's flat in there. I can probably pull the mower right in there and take that out. Just not too worried about it. So, as I said earlier, the hostas will wait for another day. Those little stems sticking up, that's what's left of the flowers. That probably could have been cut down, but then it's a pain to rake out. So, I have more over here. I got a couple of chipmunks living in there. There's a rabbit that hides in there. Drives the dogs nuts. And these daisies, they've got to go, but everything else here has to stay. This thing is flowering now. You can see there's bees on it. They like that. We've had a lot of bees this year. The dog's been stung twice. So, anyway, that's it for today. It is time for coffee and put my feet up. Thanks for watching.